What up, y'all? This is Freeway Rick Ross giving a shout out to Mikey T, the movie star.
Before we get into everything, I wanted to ask you about actually making a movie based on your life.
I'm working on that right now. The problem that we're having right now is that the people who've been writing the script, they can't cut it down to an hour and 40 minutes. And they keep coming back with 3.5 hours, 4 hours. It's hard to crunch, my whole life in an hour and 45 minutes. I've done too much. I lived too long, and had too much fun and too much excitement for somebody to be able to come and crunch that in an hour and 45 minutes. And, most of the writers can't figure out what to take out. I mean, we've had about 4 writers take cracks at this thing. And what I'm asking them to do now is to let's just do 2 movies at one time. Put one out and then 30 days later put the other one out. I believe that this is the time that something like that would be tremendously successful.
So I believe I read this at one point that Leonardo DiCaprio and Will Smith were both interested in being involved in your film. Is that something you had ever heard of?
Well, I spoke to both of their camps, but nothing transpired. I mean, I've talked to just about everybody in Hollywood. Jaime Foxx, Will Smith, Leonardo, Ori Emanuel, Jeff Bird, Spencer Boomer, Michael Linton. I mean, the list goes on and on. All the big wigs in Hollywood. But I'm a different guy. Money don't move me. They offered me some money, and I didn't think it was. And not that I was doing it for money, because, like I said, I don't necessarily work for money. But I do like you to be fair with me when I'm doing things, and I didn't think that the offers was fair, so I passed.
So it's obvious that Will Smith would have played you, right? But
possibly.
Okay. So there might have been.
I liked that idea one time. I thought that Will, because I really wanted somebody that would. I thought the person, and I still believe that the person that plays me should be somebody that everybody would least suspect being a drug dealer. They would be like, "Oh no, he would never be a drug dealer." Because if somebody would have told me a week or 2 before I started selling drugs that I was going to be a drug kingpin, I'd have been like, "Shut the up, lying." You know what I'm saying? Because I had no clue that I was headed down that road. It's like there's no way that I could have told that I was going to become a drug dealer.
It sure seemed like you knew how to make shit double.
You
know what I mean? Like, you got your initial piece of product, and then you went back and you were like, oh, this could make me a car and some rims. I want to see what else it can make me. It's similar, like when I heard 50 Cent rap, I'm the dude who went from 3.5 to a whole brick. I thought he was just talking about 3.5 grams of weed to a whole ounce of weed, so I did that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I did, from 3.5 grams to bricks, multiple kilos.
So, but speaking of Leonardo DiCaprio, was there actually a lead investigator or someone involved in your life that could have been depicted by DiCaprio?
I'm sure it was. It was a lot of people in my life, lawyers, detectives, investigators. I believe we could have found a role for him. I mean, my life is so vast. I've touched so much and so many people that it's crazy. I've probably been in like 10 to 15 courtrooms around the country, with different judges and different prosecutors and different police officers. I don't know how much money that the government probably spent investigating me. I mean, nobody has ever sit down and calculated those numbers. You know, I had my own task force with 35 cops, on it. That they eventually got indicted for planting drugs and stealing money and torturing people and civil rights violations and a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, definitely would have been a role that we could have. I know my lawyer; he would have loved for DiCaprio to play his role.
What was the movie I was watching the other day about? Would he have? Would it sort of been like Carlito's Way with Al Pacino's lawyer?
Yeah, it could have been something like that. There, you know, my lawyer, he was good. You know, he kept us out of jail for a long time until the feds came in. I mean, he never lost a state case. You know, he was killing them in the state. No. But when it came to the feds, you know, the feds had took away a lot of the things that that people used to win on. You know, like a preliminary hearing. You know, in the state, you know, your informant or the police have to come in front of you and testify and put it on the record. You know what their testimony is. But in the feds, you don't get to see them or hear from them until it's the day of the trial and the jury is in place. So it's a lot of things that the feds do that makes it much tougher for you to win. I mean, that's why they got a 98% conviction rate, you know, because they make it hard for you when you walk in there.
Was the 3-strike rule, was that a federal thing or a state thing?
Federal. They got it federal and state.
Yep. They love to wrap things up like that and just throw you away for life, so it takes a little bit more time for you to get out, it seems.
Well, you know, their plan is that you never get out.
Right.
You know, I had a life sentence without the possibility of parole, so I was never supposed to come home. Only after I had dedicated myself totally to my release was I able to eventually secure my release date.
They've got my homie ARAB locked up right now based on a bunch of conspiracy charges, and they had his sentencing based on it was going to be March of 2020. They haven't sentenced him from then.
Yeah, I know AR. I met AR. I went over to his neighborhood one time. I was in Philly, and we chopped it up. And I like the kid, and hopefully he'll get some action out of that.
Right, but
I don't know how much time. How much time is he looking at?
They're saying minimum of 15 years.
That ain't bad. 15 years. He's young still. You know,
right.
when you're young, it ain't so bad. When you get old, you know. They go to talk about 15, 20 years. You'd be like, oh, I can't do that. You know, I did 20 years in 3 months.
Right, because like you're saying, he can still come home when he's 55 years old. He can still see his children, his loved ones. You know what I mean? All of that.
And still be productive.